We're talking with Natalia Arno, president of the Free Russia Foundation. Natalia, thank you for taking time to speak with us today. It's been a little more than a year since the war in Ukraine started, and there have been lots of questions about where the war will end up, where it will go. I'd like to start this conversation by asking you, what is your organization's assessment of the status of the regime in Russia right now?
Well, I think the entire world underestimated the courage and bravery of each and every Ukrainian, and how fiercely and committedly they will be fighting for their freedom, for their independence, for their country, for their lives. And of course, definitely President Putin, or the so-called legitimate President Putin of Russia, and his circles definitely underestimated Ukrainians, overestimated the might of the Russian army, underestimated the corruption inside the army and just generally in the country. And many experts in Russia or in the West, they were saying, yes, it's possible. Well, first of all, everybody was very surprised about this brutal attack on Ukraine last year, but many really believe that it possibly, maybe it won't be a 3-day war, but it can be a very, very short attack by Putin's Russia. So, as you said, we are over a year now in this, and we don't see very fast solutions at the moment. I mean, we see that a lot of it's like stagnation in many cases. A lot of course, attacks by Russia. A lot of people are dying every day. Again, the quickest solution is what Ukraine is always asking, like weapons, 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 and so any other assistance is good as well. What we are saying is that everybody is now looking for some fast solution, for some silver bullet, how to end this all. Unfortunately, there is no simple and fast solution. It's a combination of factors, and we need to be very, very disciplined. It's important to remember about this war and remember how much this war disrupted all the processes everywhere globally. And of course, what a high price Ukrainians are taking for defending not only their country, but the entire democratic world, because this is basically a battle between dictatorship and the democratic world. So it's a combination of everything. It's more military assistance to Ukraine, more humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. It's more sanctions, and even not only increasing the sanctions regime, but implementing them. What we have like asking for European and American officials, is politicians and so on, is to have this year 2023 as a year of implementation of sanctions. This is very enforcing them. It's very, very important. We see how many countries are benefiting from this war and helping the Putin's regime to circumvent these sanctions. It's also support to Russian pro-democracy movement and civil society, because they can be and should be the second front in this war. And again, this all can weaken the regime. And so unfortunately, it looks like this year will be still a lot of battles, a lot of problems, a lot of lives lost. But again, we need to help Ukraine as much as we can.
Okay, so again, the question, what is the status of the Russian regime at this point?
It's still strong. It still relies on two biggest pillars to keep everything, to control the situation inside the country. And these pillars are repressions and increasing and intensifying repressions, fear, but also propaganda, huge propaganda. But also, again, this internal repressions and external aggression are two sides of the same coin. And this is not only military invasion of Ukraine, it's also a huge informational warfare that the Kremlin conducts, and a huge psychological war. Several years ago, my foundation was able to retrieve some KGB manuals on how the Soviet regime was again training KGB officers how to again manipulate public opinion, how to recruit more people, how to what like to do in the West and things like that. And it's the same methods. And I was very surprised to see that at first, like look like maybe the Kremlin just uses outdated methods. Now we have this new era of technologies and everything else. And then it's just realized that Actually, this is a psychology that they're based on, and 1,000 years ago, now in 1,000 years, people will still have the same psychological traits. They will all still have fear, I don't know, greed and envy, but also love, empathy, and things like that. So they know all this and they play with all these feelings.